Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of the For Real podcast, an Intergroom edition, if you will. Intergroom will take place May 14th through the 17th at the Meadowlands Exposition Center in scenic and historic Secaucus, New Jersey. For information and registration, you can visit intergroom.com. You can and you should. And today we are joined by absolute royalty in the industry. Not only do we have the panel from Yves Saint Bernard USA, the hosts of the For Real podcast and Pet Skin Academy, we are also joined by the dog father, Joey Villani himself, his lovely wife, Christine. And Joey Villani, of course, is synonymous with Intergroom. All of you really are over the years. But Joey is an internationally recognized authority in the pet grooming industry with over 45 years of experience and expertise. He is an award-winning educator and media personality. He also spearheads the promotion and execution of Intergroom. We are honored to have all of you on the panel today. And of course, we have Joey, we have Christine, Dr. Favor, Suzanne, Kayla, and Summer. Combined, what, several centuries of experience? We may know a thing or two. Panel, thank you for being here. This is awesome. We are on the road to Intergroom. We are very excited.
And I got to tell you, I need to take you on the road with me because that was the best introduction I think I've ever had in my life. Yeah. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Now, if you all have 20 minutes, I'll get to everybody else too. We'll just really pile it on here. But no, before we even get started, we were talking a little bit off air, and I think, Joey, if you wouldn't mind regaling us once again, the name Dogfather, it just sounds cool. It sounds, it lets you know that you stand on business. How did that name emanate? Where did the name the Dogfather come from in the first place?
So I'm going to tell you a little bit longer story than the one I told you because there's more to it. So I literally grew up in Sopranos land where they filmed it, and it's actually a real thing in northern New Jersey. I grew up 7 miles out of Manhattan. I did a nationally syndicated radio show called Animal Radio for I'm going to say 12 years. After the first couple of shows, Hal Abrams, the host of the show, started playing the Godfather music when I came on because he wanted to get that New Jersey Italian theme. And he started calling me the Dogfather. And it stuck. And I kind of ran with it, I mean, it just kind of fit, I guess. I don't know. But that's really the story in a nutshell.
Oh, that's you're a New York, New Jersey guy, Joey? We had no idea.
Before your wise comments, I now live in sunny Florida. Okay, so and that's what we do when we get to a certain age in New Jersey, we move to Florida. So
yeah, is that like that is the way it goes, huh? That's
for some reason it does. Even though my wife here is from Western Canada, I dragged her down.
So that means she's very polite and she balances you out to a very healthy degree.
What are you saying?
So let's say it just like that.
She definitely balances me out. I'll say that again. She definitely balances me out. The first part of that, I don't know all the time. So
come on now.
Well, before we get to Intergroom specifically, we live in a world where people's attention span can be measured in nanoseconds. We have business owners, entrepreneurs here, and pretty much a lot of people who watch this show. We have a lot of novice groomers, but a lot of people who aspire to be entrepreneurs. So everyone's planning events these days. Everyone's promoting themselves on social media. They're fighting and vying for as many eyeballs as they can get, attention, things like that. So, Joey, as a show promoter, Intergroom, but also everything else that you've been a part of over your career, do you have any keys to success that help garner attention for your event and to keep things fresh year after year? Or do you stick to a formula that works? Or how are you able to innovate every single year with Intergroom and beyond?
Well, we had a formula that worked for a number of years, and then it just stopped working as more shows came about. Intergroom, don't forget, was the first international grooming show where people from all over came. And then as shows started happening in Europe and Asia and South America, it started losing its flair. And about 2 years ago, my wife here, she's definitely a mastermind at driving things, and she said, why don't we get back to the roots of the show and start inviting more people over? And that's what we started to do to get the international people to come back, to bring Intergroom back to its roots of where it was, but bring it back to the United States because it's spread out. It's almost like with the Groom Team events. The first Groom Team show was at Intergroom. And I think that was the last one ever in the United States because it's hard for the Europeans to get here. And there's so many different countries besides just us. So we said we got to do something different and bring them in. The other thing I wanted to do is I wanted a pure hair cutting show. So even though I'm on the advisory board of Groom Team, I wanted to get away from that, and I just want pure haircuts. I want groomers to come and show their style off, and just a lot of different fun things. But honestly, I can't take credit for it. My wife is definitely, probably the has the most ideas. Wait till you see what we got planned for next year. We're already working on it, and then I got good partners with Barkley that help bring my thoughts and dreams alive. I'm the guy. You come to the show and you see me, and I smile and I shake your hand and all, but I'm more in the background than everyone else.
Yeah.
Joey, I think it's impossible for you to be in the background of anything. But we respect
I was
that.
Disagree with that, Joey. You're out meeting people all the time.
All the time.
It's always nice to see you at the show, and you always reach out a hand as we walk by. So that's important to the rest of us. You make everybody feel welcome, and I think that's important at those shows.
Well, we love we love you guys. We love the industry. The good thing about the grooming industry and about the shows, it's not like any other. I have a whole other life. What I did, where I was the business manager of the Stagehand Union in Northern New Jersey, and all we did was we were backstage employees. So we did everything from concerts to movies to plays and a lot of conventions.
Yeah.
And what's different with our convention is everyone knows everyone. Those other ones, they don't. The person sitting right up next to you, may have never seen before, never spoke to them. We know each other. We know each other's families. We know, when someone needs help. I mean, it's a different industry, and it's more welcoming. You know what I'm saying, for everyone, everyone who's part of it.
Yeah.
It's family. We joke a lot of times we spend more time with some of the people at the grooming shows than we do people in our hometown.
Or in our lives,
Our own family, actual family at home.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's crazy.
And it doesn't stop at the shows too. I mean, just like this podcast, I mean, Summer and Kayla, we talk on a regular basis, on different things and stuff. So family extends even past the trade shows. But I feel sorry for the groomers that don't get involved in the trade shows and experience that. I think that, unfortunately, a lot of groomers are solitary animals, and they stick to themselves, and they don't realize the benefit of the family, the benefit of going and learning at these trade shows, the benefit of seeing the vendors and seeing the new stuff that's out there, and the bigger world that exists. And once they get involved in that community, I think it's a life changer for a lot of them.
Well, it's just the education. I mean, I'm going to let you speak on this because the education that comes from the show is so valuable, not only to know the latest and greatest things, but to advance your career. I mean,
For sure.
Yeah, I won't hire anyone that won't agree with certifying with an association and doing the trade shows. And you just have to agree to that to work with me, or else it's not going to work. That education is such a huge value in being the experts and the leaders to, show the correctness and professionalism in this industry.
Yeah, I agree.
Bottom line, you don't know what you don't know. And until you go listen to somebody else and listen to new ideas, you're going to never know that, there may be a better world out there.
Very honest, true statement here, or story. Last time that I stood in front of you, you taught me so much about skin and coat that I thought I knew almost anything. And walking away, I realized, wow, I said, that man just schooled me on skin and coat. And that was just standing in front of your booth, okay, listening. And you had a crowd of people. So it wasn't just you and I. You were talking to everyone. So that's what they miss. They miss stuff like that. And that's more or less free because you can come to these shows, and if you have no money, I get it. You know, a lot of groomers don't have the money to put out.
Absolutely.
But all you got to do is get there and walk around. And I'm doing this 51 years. And I stood in front of your booth, and I'm being honest. And I was like, I was just schooled on skin and coat. And I thought I knew, I'm not going to say everything, but almost everything. And I realized I had a lot more to learn.
You know, that's one of my favorite parts of the trade shows, I'll be honest with you. It's fun to lecture, and I think I can explain a lot of things, but to actually touch and feel and be able to talk on that one-on-one on the booth, that, like I say, I really enjoy that aspect of it because, you know, there again, I can have people touch and feel and smell and do different things that they wouldn't even know. And I'm not even pushing products at that point, honestly. I'm pushing the science behind it so that they can walk away with, you know, a better understanding. And unfortunately, not everybody comes to the booth, but when they come to my class, I tell them that's part of their education, to come to the booth and get the second half of the class.
Well, I always love it because we're visual, right? All of us, we're artists, and artists are very visual. We need to we have the physicality of it, and we need to do it, see it, do it, see it, do it kind of people. And you can just see the light bulbs come on. And it's amazing when you see people like putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And I don't know about you guys, but like every trade show I've gone to, I can get one pearl from it and take it back to my salon and share it with everybody there and get excited about it. And I mean, if you add all the pearls up, you know, going to one trade show here, even if it's one trade show a year, it revives me and my employees, and I can go in there and then we're all like rejuvenated. We all have kind of this fresh outlook on what we're doing and that we're making a difference, and we're being better at our trade and what we do and everything. So I think even just walking around, like you said, Joey, walking around and talking to our compadres that do the same thing we do every day, right? Because we're in our zone in the salons and we don't see the outside world a lot. We don't know what's happening out there if we don't get out.
I don't think I would do this if I didn't have the outlet of the shows and what the shows have brought. So it's not just the shows; it's everything that it has brought after that,
Camaraderie.
the online stuff and all. But it all really, how could I say, branches off from the events originally, and now it just morphed into more modern day. But I don't think that I would be doing this because grooming isn't all that sexy to be quite honest with you. It's not. It's backbreaking. It's hard. You earn every dollar that you make, even the ones that are making the most amount of money. You're still beating yourself up for everything that you do, and to not have anything fresh going on. And I don't know, I mean, if you think about it, if somebody just goes to the show and they watch Summer and Kayla groom, you're inspired. I mean, you want to throw your scissors away in the garbage, but you know what? If you just pull up your pants and start learning.
Yes.
But it's every aspect of the event, just meeting new people. In itself, that's it. That's all you need.
Well,
Well, think of all the novice people that are just saying, I'm burnt out from corporate, I'm burnt out from my shop. And you come to a show and it breaks you out of that.
Yeah.
Because again, like you said, Joey, it's physical. You come home, you're sore, you're tired, you smell like many choice things. But I feel like, if I go to a show, like I come home excited. I don't think I've ever come home from a show where I didn't learn something new or I didn't get inspired to try to do something else. And that's just exciting. I mean, I work alone. I got to keep it exciting.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I used to teach my doctors when they say I'm burning out. I tell them to go learn something new. The quickest way to take care of burnout, learn something new, learn a new skill, learn, get better at business, at the courses, get better, learn new techniques. if you keep doing the same thing, because our field's not much different, vomiting and diarrhea gets really old in the veterinary field. I've treated my 100,000 of them. I'm kind of bored with that at this point, because it is routine. But if you go learn something new, then it rejuvenates you and takes you to a different level. And when you get masters like Summer and Kayla and you, Joey and Christine, that those kind of things just bring you up because you realize that I may be good, but I see somebody better that I want to be like them type thing.
Yeah. That's my greatest honor so far. Doing anything is so small, but it is the best thing in the world. And that is that newbies tour that I'm so lucky to get to do at Groom Expo. The chance to touch these first time attendees to Groom Expo. This is an intergroom thing and we need something like that, but it's about the new groomers and just getting to inspire them to walk the floor and meet the people. That is everything that makes my heart so full of what I've gotten to be a part of as far as like that contact with the new groomers.
Yeah, that's great.
Well,
That's so great.
And that's one of our passions, why we started the For Real, is to bring those young groomers up. That the whole idea, I think everybody on the team, our idea is we want to raise the bar on the industry. Start making people better. And what better time to start, to your point, than the people that are just starting off so they don't learn bad habits. They learn good stuff from the beginning.
So I'm going to cut Joey off because I know he had something to say, but you lead into a point of Intergroom. That is one of my favorite things about Joey. His inspiration over his career to teach the groomers out there. That's a big reason why the Rising Star exists. And that is one of the most exciting things that we get to talk about on our daily Intergroom chats is what can we do more for these new groomers coming in and getting them into the competition rings and into the fire. And that's his main passion that I see come to Intergroom when we were sitting there and what does Intergroom really mean?
Yeah.
The international thing is something that I see in the name and his passion to see the new ones taught and brought in and brought comfort. Like, I just had to throw the ball there because that's
my
Joey
background.
Star.
That's my background. I mean, Nash Academy. I mean,
Yeah.
More or less, I grew up in that. It was a salon called Superdog. In 1974, I grew my first dog named Cecilia. It was an Old English sheepdog. It was November 17th, 1974. I remember it because I cried for 3 hours brushing that dog and out, and I hated it. But anyway, then it turned into the Nash Academy. And what I liked about it is, again, we weren't an advanced grooming school. Like, we had people who taught advanced grooming, but mainly it was people just coming into the industry. And doing it for as long as I did, you've seen how many lives that you changed. Some people you don't, and you know it. And I'm going to tell a quick story. If I was to write a book, there'd be a chapter called Lucy Spears. And Lucy Spears, she had a learning disability, and her family was extremely rich. They drove her in a limo to school 2.5 hours each way. But when they first came in, the parents said to me, this is Lucy's, more or less, we don't know what to do with her. She likes pets. She don't like school. We can't get her to learn. And so she came to the school, and it was difficult. And matter of fact, 3/4 through the program, I'm sitting there with my instructors because you go through benchmarks. And after every benchmark, which is a quarter of the way through the course, New Jersey state law says you have to you're required to tell this person that if they're doing good, fabulous, move forward. If they're failing, you got to give them an exit opportunity because don't just take their money. So the first quarter failing, second quarter failing, third quarter failing. So we're sitting there with the staff and I'm going, because I knew she had a learning disability, and we're all saying, maybe we need to cut her loose at this point. And I turned to them and I said, you know what, guys, if we can't figure out a way to train her, we're not doing something correct, because everyone has a different way. We switched the way we did it. She ended up, and this is a true story, she ended up being probably the best groomer to come out of that class. And then we had an exchange program with the Sepia School in Japan, in Tokyo. She took the program and went to Tokyo. They put her up in the Hilton there. She didn't want to stay in the dorms. She stayed in the Hilton, came back, opened up her own salon, and has been running it successfully from for as long as I can as I kept going. But that's what I like. I
Yeah.
like being able to give these people an opportunity into an industry that, if you can't make money in our industry, you're doing something wrong, because you know what? It's infinite amount of work. And there's another thing that bothers me. There's apparently 230 something thousand groomers, they say, in the United States. What bothers me is, how come the largest show in the country can only get 7,000 of them? Where are these people? What
Thank
are they
you.
doing? Where are they buying
Yeah.
their products? How do they not know that there's a professional industry within this industry that you need to be part of? I don't understand that, and I don't know why we can't seem to touch these people and get them to come out or get them to learn online, whatever it is.
Right.
No.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
And some of it is a money thing, but that's the whole reason they need to come, because they need to come to your class, Joey, and learn how to make money. And I joke about that, but in the same token, that's one of the biggest issues that we have in the grooming industry. Most of our great groomers, they don't know how to run a business. Well, come and learn.
And how can you bring new people in if they think they're going to get paid pennies on the dollar and
Absolutely.
have to fight for commission like squirrels and whatever kind of junk they're working in? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, why would you want to be a groomer if you walk into one of these places that don't go for the education and
Right.
that's your experience for what a salon is?
Right. Right.
I mean, we offered our
Yeah.
staff down here.
100%.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was agreeing with her. I think that's absolutely the correct. And I think that's also another reason why, I shouldn't say, I think it's one reason why mobile groomers are a big, huge thing, because a lot of these groomers, a lot of them have not been treated well in salons because people aren't business owners. They're not managers. They're groomers that wanted to work on their own in a brick and mortar. And oh, by the way, they need help, but they don't know how to manage the help, right? So I think that's why you need to go to a trade show. We're there to help you, but how do we get that message out to them, right? Yeah.
Well, my wife here, she raised two kids on a home salon in rural country Canada. And if you can pull that off successfully, which she did, she ended up buying her a home and everything with it.
Mhm.
And it's it's a testament to what's available to people here. And especially, and I don't want to sound sexist here at all, but if you're a single mom and you got to raise kids and you want to get involved, well, there you go. Okay, so you know it better than anyone what I'm going to say. You want to raise, this industry offers you that opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it has to, play out the right way, but it
Yeah.
offers you that opportunity to be able to do that and live a successful and fruitful life.
But I started at 27, not knowing how to draw a silver stick man. And I just was blessed enough to walk into a very, very, very well accredited private school in Canada and didn't do corporate, didn't do under anyone else. I went for I don't know, the more I look back, I had a very top notch school.
You did.
And from there, I had the passion for education being in rural Canada. I mean, where do you find education? In the boondocks?
Right.
So I
Right.
was trying to travel and find education right out of the gate. And that's how I got to, that's
Yeah.
how he can talk it the way he does on the business. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. Yeah, it's anything you want it to be, really. You
Yeah.
can make it as big as you want it to be, or you can make it as small and shishi as you want it to be. Either way, you can make a huge living at it. You just have to know how to do it. And that's why grooming shows are like yours, like Intergroom, are so valuable, because where do we get those ideas if we're alone in our salons? Our brain only thinks so deep, and if we don't have stimulus and education and all those things, we aren't courage to think deeper or, look at new ideas.
I also
I,
think, a lot of times you think you're doing a good groom, and then you watch Kayla and Summer and some of the
Yeah.
people,
You're
and you
like,
realize I'm good, but I'm not that good, and you learn, watch and you learn.
Yeah.
These guys are my superstars.
They
Yeah,
are.
oh, they are.
Wow.
Yes, they are, and that's why they're both invited to Intergroom, because they're both champions. Because that's all the
Yeah.
invitational is all champions around the world. And
Mhm.
and the two of them are there, and we're
And
excited about it.
I can tell you that they're
I'm excited.
champions in more than grooming, and that's why we have them here, because they're constantly, and they will not tell you this and they will not say it, and that's why they're humble, but they're always helping others
Yeah.
when nobody's watching. That's how you know where their heart's at. I just got back from PCA, we all did, and I stood back and like we did a podcast, and when I looked at the ring, and I'm gonna break up now, but when I looked at the ring, I saw these girls during the day running up to people. Oh, let me help you with that. Let me do this for you. Let me show you how to make that look better. So when you get in the ring, Summer was over there running over, helping somebody else's dog, showing someone else's dog. Give me a suit. Does anybody have a dress I could wear? I'll go in, blah, blah, blah. And Kayla's over there grooming dog after dog for people just because, not for money, not for fame, over in the corner where nobody's watching. That's what it's all about. It's those moments where you're not under the spotlight, and that's what makes me love them and want to lift them up and do what we can, because like we were all that person that didn't know anybody and didn't know what we were doing, but we showed up.
And,
And
and
that's all it takes. Show up. And I
Yeah.
think people are intimidated at first, but when they come to the show and they start talking to other groomers, they finally start realizing these people have the same problems that I do.
right.
And I mean, listen, let's also face it, the grooming in the ring, it is fabulous and all, but it's not realistic in our world. And I think once groomers realize that, we all groom the same pretty much in the salon. I mean, there's some better than others, but at the end of the day, you get a dog that's falling apart and not standing and pooping and peeing and everything. Not every grooms are always going to be perfect, and understand that and come to the show and know that those people, their day to day, it's exactly like you, but they earned being in there because they mastered that skill. So that's all you have to do.
Just show
The
up.
same thing, and show up, and then you can do it in there if you want.
Yeah.
But
Well, and by coming to the show, they meet people like Kayla and Summer, and then they find mentors that can help them on that. And if nothing more, a support system to tell them, yeah, what you're going through is normal. Because I think sometimes they come to the show and they see, these gals that are doing such wonderful jobs, guys and girls, and they think that that's everyday life, to your point, and that's not. They live the same life. They've got to produce the same that everybody else does.
Got the same
But
bills.
a lot of times they
Yep.
better techniques. I mean, we do that all the time. I mean, I love teaching my D shed thing, because we're dropping all the hair in the tub, and some of these people are spending hours cleaning up after they're all done. It's like, there's better ways to do this, but you don't know that unless you go and start taking the classes and start learning different ways of doing that. And you can have 10 classes on the same thing, and you're going to get 10 different ideas, and one of those is going to resonate with you.
Right.
It's
So,
not like
Wait.
there's any one authority.
Before we get too far off, I just have to say I agree 1000% fully with the whole like Summer and Kayla being champions in all kindness and big heart. As a newer person into this world, you two ladies have both been absolutely beautifully accepting and kind and welcoming. So I just had to throw a yay to you ladies and your kindness and big heart in there before it was over.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And your
So
beautiful
we're just-
dogs are gorgeous.
They
It's a good
don't
thing you
look like
didn't
that on a
see.
day to day.
No.
Oh God.
It's a good thing you didn't see the dogs at the groom today in my van.
Oh,
Like you
Oh.
said, same dogs.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
The
Same
dog I'm
challenges,
bringing
same
to your
challenges.
show.
Oh,
the
yeah.
dog I'm bringing to your show. Jacob saw it PCA and was like,
What is
"You're
that?
doing that one?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been growing him out since December or January."
Well,
Mine's
Like,
in
yep.
the other room.
Well,
Yeah.
Kayla and Summer, you both as mobile salon owners, as champions, invitees to Intergroom this year, especially, and then as competitors as well. What do you two look forward to about Intergroom specifically? Because you have
And
so many perspectives about it.
I mean,
how
I
does
love
it
seeing
feel? How does
everybody.
it
I
feel?
I mean, even hearing you say champion still like doesn't. I do still have a little bit of the imposter syndrome. I'm sure Summer probably does too. Um, but no, I've always loved Intergroom. I hope the New England show continues, but Intergroom's always kind of felt like my other home show. But what I love is, especially this show, is there's so many new people, and I like to claim them and drag them around the show and try to get them out of their shell and be like, you're going to meet all these people, and I'm not going to shut up. So you just have to deal with me. And I've met a few that, have gone on to win Rising Star, to, get Compassionate Groomer of the Year. I mean, last year I was luckily enough, like, thank you, Joey and Christine, to do the mentor judging. And that was like the highlight of like my year last year. As far as shows go, because it was just so much fun to watch the light bulbs turn on in the ring and just little things that to me seem so little because I'm always looking at a whole picture and I'm like, all right, let me find these little pieces and I want to teach. I want to judge someday. So it actually was really developmental for me. But I love like you guys said, like getting the new people in and getting them excited and but I'm excited about the competition. And then you tease next year, and now I'm just thinking, and the gears are turning, so it's your fault. But Summer, go ahead, because I don't shut up.
Well, so the first time I ever heard about Intergroom was Liz Johnston had her trophy from Rising Star hanging on the wall. And I was like, ooh, I want to try to win that. Except I got out of intermediate too quickly. So I couldn't do that. And I was like, oh.
That's a real
So I was
sad
like,
thing.
right.
I'm so
And I was
sorry.
like, yeah.
I
so
had one
sorry.
chance, and I was like, it's happening.
Yeah, no, I didn't get the chance.
Okay.
Because the year like the beginning of it, Liz was like, "Oh no, I'm going to Intergroom. You need to stay and work at the shop." I was like, "Oh, okay," and like whatever. But when I got the invitation, I was like, "Ooh, ooh, Kayla, guess what? Guess what?"
You told me before you were even supposed to tell anybody.
Yes, yes.
well, I think you
Sorry,
were the
I
first
just
one.
ratted her out.
I
I
think
didn't.
you were the
I
first
didn't
one I
say
asked.
it.
You were the
Yeah.
first one I asked. I
I was
remember.
very excited.
Yes.
I remember, why, Joey? Why?
It's like when you get the email and you go, "This has to be a mistake. He didn't mean to send me that." Like,
Right, and then I'm like, because you had the group chat for the American competitors, and I was like, oh, I'm in the list with these. Oh, it was just it was unreal. I was just like, oh,
Right. You guys earned it.
Kayla.
You guys earned it. But I gotta tell you something, Summer. You missed out because the rules of the Rising Star, you just couldn't have won an open. You could have went in as an intermediate.
yep,
No,
Yes.
yep.
okay,
Yeah. You could have.
but I had placed an open.
Okay. If you then that was it. If you placed
No,
an open,
did you?
then you were.
Yes, because I went to
You
You
are
went to
a rising
Groom
star.
South
Look
or
at that.
Fitz.
Groom South, and I placed my Bishan.
I mean, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it
I
is.
know.
You're doing well.
It is.
I know, but then I couldn't. I was like, I saw that trophy, and I was like, that's a cool trophy.
Joey,
I
every
didn't
now
get to
and-
even try.
with these two lovely ladies, sometimes on the show when I list their accolades and things and they have this modesty, sometimes you have to just be like, take the damn compliment. All right.
I mean,
Say thank you.
Dr.
Yes.
Cliff has actually, in the middle of my seminar and me introducing myself, like cut me off and says, "No, Kayla, you're gonna say the rest of it. And I'm like, fine.
Yeah.
This happened.
You call them
Yes, it
champions and they
has.
don't even accept it. Like no one's ever called me a champion on anything.
There's so much more to still learn. There's so much more to accomplish.
Respect.
I mean, that's why I shaved Gavin down too. It wasn't just to retire him from showing, but it was the trim got simple on him for me. So I wanted to learn something new. So that's why I'm not even learning the German on him. I'm learning to teach him because I needed something fresh. I needed something new. I needed a challenge. Because you're groomers, you get like stagnant. You gotta keep reaching for something. But there's still
And
more.
now you have an
These
extra
guys
5
remind me-
hours in your week.
I know. All the
I
extra
said
time downtown.
I brought
you
an
have?
extra one home. I want to know how I ended up with now 2 show coats again, Joey. I brought home a dog, so I have a dog for Intergroom, and he's lovely.
But how about some trash talking? Meaning that you guys are going to be going up against each other here, just
Right?
in a couple of days. I mean, you're not going to.
Well,
I
we've had a
specifically
little bit of talking.
chose.
We talked a little bit.
Yeah, I specifically chose not to do a poodle because I knew Kayla was bringing a poodle.
Because I am 100% going home with that money. You can
I
get a
brought a
medal.
very-
There's 3 of those.
You see Summer face down and hair on the stage with her feet and hands tied
Hey.
behind her back. Kayla did not do that.
We can do the Nancy Kerrigan. I'm kidding.
That's what I was thinking, Tanya.
We're in the same room.
Did you know I used to do her guinea pig's nails?
Really?
Yeah, she used to bring him to PetSmart. This was like 15 years ago. And
Nancy or Tanya?
Nancy. And I
You know
never
what's
asked
funny?
her about it.
You know how many people are going to listen to this and are going to say, who is
No, because there was because there was a whole documentary about the whole thing.
About the guinea
So
pig?
Netflix, so that's how you know the young people will know about
Yes,
it.
yes. I watched it. It was quite interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that the other chat went last night, Joey, and I immediately went to see chat members and I sat there and I scrolled and I screenshotted it to the group and I was like, so this just got real. I'm like, I see who's coming. And I went, huh, okay. All right.
There was some Facebook
Make
stalking.
the cut. There was some Facebook stalking.
We put a couple of twists in there. I threw a couple of OGs in there just to see
Yeah,
how
you did.
how they're going to do.
But it's like, I'm so excited to see some of those names because if I'm supposed to get better, I want to compete against who was at the top. You're only going to get better if you're as good as the people surrounding you. So I'm psyched.
Right.
I'm excited. Wait, did you know that once upon a time there was poodle grooming in the Olympics, and that is exactly what it was? It was who can groom the most poodles in a certain amount of time. I believe it was 15.
Wow.
It only
really?
lasted 1 year. That was actually a competition.
Really?
Because they broke them.
I feel
Mental.
like I could have qualified for that. I just spent 2.5 years bathing and brushing 5 full coated doodles once a week. So I probably could have won that Olympic sport. I just want to put that out there. My shoulders are still feeling it, but I feel like a champion in that sport.
Right.
I love it.
You got killer arms now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now we have tendonitis, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Everything is
I
fine.
didn't say
We
what
have
type of
ibuprofen for
killer.
You know it.
Yep. No, we all know it, right? All of
Right?
us.
Dr. Favor and Suzanne and everybody really at Yves Saint Bernard USA and Pet Skin Academy, they often speak of the importance of continued education in the industry. And we certainly alluded to it earlier, but to go a little more in depth, Intergroom clearly reflects that sentiment. You guys have a incredible variety of educators, speakers, presenters, including our very own Dr. Favor. But from your experience, how important is it, even for a seasoned groomer or a seasoned business owner and operator, to continue their education in the industry and take advantage of this great, vast array of speakers and educators on a panel, such as what we're going to see at Intergroom?
It's extremely important. That's why if you look at Intergroom, I think we have close to 40 different speakers over the course of the weekend. And, in different array of things. But what I want to say first was 25 years ago, I was doing grooming demos. And then I stopped and did all business ones. And I wish the groomers would take the business ones a little bit more serious, because I always considered myself to be very good at what I do. But for the first 25 years of my career, I was the one that ended up putting all my businesses putting them out of business, because I was a champion groomer, but I was not a champion master at running the business.
Hard to be good at everything.
But you have to, is the problem, So if I was going to say anything, I would tell people, make sure you take your business classes first and then go take the other classes second, so you can concentrate on them. Because if you're running a business and it's failing, it's hard to think about how to trim a top knot on a poodle, sitting in that class and knowing you got to go back to work on Tuesday and hoping that you can make payroll for everyone. So I want to say that first. But as far as it's invaluable. It really is. And it's not because it's Intergroom or anything like that. It's just that ongoing education is going to raise that person. And, John Nash, really my mentor. I had a few: John Nash, Shirley Kelstone, John Stasko. I was blessed to have some of the best people in the industry in my life.
Yeah.
But John Nash always said, remember one thing, you are taking care of man's best friend. So you have to make sure that they get the experience that is due to them. And it's so important. And the only way to do that is to understand the craft, okay? And I don't mean just, knowing how to trim poodles. And I'm not saying just knowing how to run the business and knowing the products and everything that goes along with it. But it's everything together to make, because otherwise you can't give that experience. You cannot give that experience to the pet owner or the pet, okay? Because it's for both of them. The pet owner actually thinks that, you know what? The dog sits there with cucumbers on its eyes, and we sit there and file its nails, and they don't realize what goes on behind closed doors. But what they do realize is when Fluffy comes out, Fluffy's happy, and Fluffy looks good and smells good and feels good, and that's part of the experience. I can't give my client that experience without knowing all aspects. And the only way to do that is to really, you got to experience it. You can come to my school, my school I used to have, and learn about pet grooming. But until you experience a live event, not online, a live event, because it's totally different, you're never going to understand it. Mm-hmm. You're never going to, unless you got great mentors that, you know what, they're able to give you everything. I don't know, even with my great mentors, I didn't get everything until I went out there and needed to experience it.
Well, and I think to your point too, Joey, not everybody's got all the answers. And that's why you need multiple mentors. And I reiterate exactly what you said. I think a lot of times people spend all their time in learning how to do a groom, when the reality is I've seen some of the happiest clients with some of the worst grooms.
Yes.
Yeah.
They ran a good business. They created a good experience.
An environment that was welcoming.
And so there again, the big package. And, I take a little different perspective because my bias is a lot of groomers spend time learning, let's say, Asian fusion or coloring and things like that, but they don't know anything about the hair and skin. I always say it's like a mechanic working on a car. If you don't understand how the engine runs, how do you work on the car?
Exactly.
So you really need those basics. And I think a lot of times they almost get starry-eyed and look at the big picture instead of looking at the foundation that they need to lay to start with on that. Because that's really where you need to start. And that's part of the reason, even in our certified pet esthetician course, I teach business in there. Because I tell people you can be the best esthetician in the world, but if you can't run a business, you're not going to be able to help anybody. The most important thing you do as a business owner is to have a healthy business. And if you don't have a healthy business, you can't service your clients because you're not going to be in business.
And your head is not going to be there.
Right.
Your head is never going to be there. You're never going to understand what you teach, because you're always going to look for the shortcuts, because I'm not able. It's funny with groomers. Groomers, I notice when business is failing, they don't want to put the time into learning why it's failing. What they try to do is they try to band-aid it.
Well, they're
And
putting fires out.
yes,
Fires out in every aspect of it.
And it doesn't work. I mean, at the end of the day, if we're able to create a good living for our families and ourselves at what we do, and we're happy, you know what? You're gonna want to just continue to grow. Now, I know there's a point where you know what you got to get to that point, but in order to get to that point, you gotta make yourself. My wife uses this all the time. You gotta make yourself vulnerable. Go to the event. Spend a day, and you know what? You want it to come back to use it for social media. Tell your clients that you're sitting in Dr. Cliff's class, listening to him talk about skin and coat. So you know what? I can make your dog's life a better life and a healthier life. And put that out there. Let the people know instead of just saying, "Oh, I can't be closed." Let them know why you're closed. We're closed because we're going to give your pet and you a much better experience at pet grooming.
Oh,
Right.
can I roll off this?
Yeah, good.
So one of my biggest things is all those certificates on my wall that I've acquired from trade shows and being a big education geek. And I'm what I like to call an indoctrinated groomer. I went straight to a school and I've done everything through associations and trade shows to reiterate it. So I have no outside of the box learning except from other professional recognized groomers. And when I tell my clients what I'm doing with their pet, what I'm offering them, and what I'm going to charge them, the confidence is instantly there because of all the certificates behind me. My clients come to me as the expert without me having to say a word. The experience and the certificates combined with the confidence in what I'm saying makes the price tag and what I'm asking for my job a lot easier to confidently say. So I would not be anywhere without all of these avenues of ongoing education. And
Right.
I sit here with true confidence that it is like you said earlier, it's heartbreaking the groomers that are missing out on this. And it's what our industry standard needs. It's, as a standard, we need to rise to this. And I don't know how you do it, but
I just read an article Bill Shelton put out, he was speaking. I don't know if you know who Bill Shelton is. He's a breeder and a judge and amazing guy, a human being. He's like a mentor to a lot of people in the dog world. And he said some astronomical figure the pet industry is going to bring in this next year as projected. It's way up there. It's way bigger than the last few years. And yet, dog shows and all of these shows surrounding pets and things like that are kind of going down and in entries. And it's he says, and it's our own fault. Like we've gotta get in there and we've gotta do something because these young folks are not coming up through the ranks like we did. So I agree with you, Joey, when you say, why, what are we doing? Where can we find them? How can we reach them? I mean, that's like one of our things is call me, just call me, chat with me. Anytime I see a young groomer at a show first time, I'm super excited for them because I know what it took to get there. I was that person too. But I agree with you. I wish that we could brainstorm ways to almost an outreach thing to make them feel more welcome. But I do see at some of these dog shows and other shows where they get overwhelmed, or maybe they were afraid to approach, or it's pretty intense at those shows when you guys are competing. So for them to think that they could even walk up and say, "Hey, could you show me how to do that?" it is intimidating, but I think there's other avenues that we could reach them and reach out a hand and encourage them to step up and come to these shows.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to throw in there just to bounce off Joey, talking about putting band-aids on it. I think a lot of times people, they just think that they come to show they're going to learn about grooming,
Oh,
but
not
I'm
my
going to
phone.
tell you that there's a lot of I teach about 3 or 4 things that most groomers in their individual salon could probably up their income up 5, 10, $20,000 just by following a couple simple little differences. And most people think the only way that they can make more money is to raise their prices. This is just talking about different techniques, different ways to market their products or whatever, where they get zero pushback and clients have decisions that they'll make because they see a difference in the overall. Uh, Grooming, I hit on the D shed. We did an example on a Great Pyrenees that just changing the technique, we cut an hour and a half off the groom time, which, you think about that. If you can cut an hour and a half off the groom time, you just groomed another probably 1 or 2 dogs. So you think about that. If you do that on a regular basis, what does that look like at the end of the year? And how inexpensive was that trade show relative to the money you're going to make just by learning that little simple technique?
Not to mention how much it saves your body,
Absolutely.
Which is like that's a career extender, you know. I mean, when you get to be like my age, you're starting to go, I know exactly
Well,
how many dogs I did today by how my back feels, or my
it's
arm,
it's
right?
not even getting to your age. Do you know the average lifespan of most professional groomers that make it into the field is 5 years? Why is that? You think about it.
That's
Why are the majority only lasting 5 years? And it comes down to everything that you guys are talking about right now. And just making those little changes. And Dr. Cliff, like you said, it's not about raising your prices. It's changing the way you do things, changing the way you think, changing some of the products you use, and just understanding the dog as a whole, basically. Understanding skin and coat, understanding behavior, understanding having systems in place that you're regimentally doing things the same way so it gets quicker and more efficient and safer every single day, and knowing what the other person next to you is supposed to be doing. It's those little things that people don't really think about until they apply them and say, why haven't I been doing that? Why didn't I do that 20 years? 20 years? That was me. Why didn't I do that 20 years ago?
I wish I knew 20 years ago what I know today. And
Yes.
I would be in a lot better shape financially, I guarantee, because those little things along the way would have changed the whole trajectory of my career on that. And I think that's true with most groomers. That's why, I think all of us kind of have a heart for that young groomer. If we can keep them from making bad habits, getting into those bad ruts, going with all the myths and the hearsay and bad information out there and get them going on the right track, it can change their career. Because I I truly feel groomers are way, way underpaid for what they do.
Oh,
Physically,
absolutely.
it's so much wear and tear in the body, and they need to go and get the ergonomics seminars and learn what happens. They need to learn about groomer's lung. Why do I want to teach people to drop the hair in the tub? Well, part of it's for speed, but a lot of it is the fact that you're not breathing in all that hair. That long term, you're going to get groomer's lung. The speed's the lesser of the evils there. The big evil is that groomer's lung, and you're not going to be able to breathe, and we see people in the industry walking around with their oxygen bottles, unfortunately. And so we realize it's out there. Why don't we prevent it? But they're not going to know until they go and get to see that bigger picture at some of these trade shows and learn some things.
Well, there's people, it's funny you bring up groomers long, and there's groomers that have passed away from that. Marlene Romani's sister, who the creator of Clippervac, and that was the inspiration behind Clippervac, was because I believe it was a sister passed away from groomer's lung, and that's why they came out with the product. To keep you from breathing as much in as you do. But yeah, there's a lot more than just that. I mean, there's a lot of hazards in our industry that
It's like everybody wants to use a shaker bottle, and I tell them, you do this, you have an expiration date. By 45, you're not going to be doing this because you burn out your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist. Mechanized. It's really easy to get a frother or get a mixer or something where you're not wasting your shoulder on something remedial like that. But if you look at the industry, that's probably the number one way most people mix their products.
Yep.
And then they wonder why the shoulder doesn't work on that. So.
Yep. We don't know when you do that repetitive motion.
Carpal tunnel syndrome. There's all of those different things. There's a lot of classes on how to use the scissors correctly and that. And if you can learn it correctly and not learn the bad habits, there again, I keep going back to that because a lot of times you learn a bad habit and it's really hard to break it because that becomes your norm. And that's one of the things I get frustrated with some of the people that have been in the industry longer is they're doing the wrong thing. They'll admit they're doing the wrong thing, but they won't change. And then they go ahead and pass it on to the next generation, and we never solve the problem on that. So,
well, it's kind of like me with my diet. So,
yeah, Joey, I relate.
You're doing good right now. You're going to keep walking.
Yes, I get it.
Just keep walking. Just keep walking. I feel you. I feel you. It doesn't get any easier as you get older, does it?
Go to trade shows. You'll get your steps in.
Yeah.
You don't have time to eat all day.
Because time is money.
Yes, well, it is.
It's true.
But your health is one of the most important things you have, one of your biggest assets.
As I tell people, Joey and I don't live a normal life. We don't live normal vacations. It's dogs, dog grooming, or dogs and dog grooming.
Or fishing.
Or fishing. We fish on Sundays. Yes, we fish on Sundays.
Sunday we take the boat out and we go fish.
Yes.
That's good. That's a good
I'm gonna have to take you up on that sometime. I love to fish too.
Oh, anytime in Florida. You come down.
Awesome.
Wait, this is where my accolades grow beyond his because I'm a master groomer and I'm the captain of the boat. When you enter the boat, I become Master Captain Chrissy, and I do expect to be referred to by that. Even he knows this, or he will be walking planks. So I wear a new hat when we go fishing, and it feels good.
So Joey, how did you accomplish that? Because if she's driving the boat, that means you get to fish all the time.
It's the truth.
Smoke cigars.
I think that you had that planned out.
I did. So hold on. There's a little bit to the story. We joined a boat club called Freedom Boat Club. So because we wanted to have a boat, but we didn't want to store it and all. So it's this great club. So you got to go and you got to get your captain's license. So I let her get hers first, and then she started driving. I said, you know what? This is too good.
Terrible.
I'm not getting mine. I'm going to let her drive the boat. So I look at it like this. It's my charter. Okay? And she's the captain. She can captain. She can captain, drive. And she does a really good job with no matter what size boat it is.
He has jumped out and pushed.
I take my hat off to you, Joey. I got a whole nother respect for you for this whole scenario here.
I just had to admit it. He may push me out when I get into shallow water.
Yeah, our rivers here are real shallow, and not too long ago we had we took out a pontoon because you can get almost any type of boat. We had 12 of us, and we go in this area we always go in, but didn't calculate for the extra weight. And we just shut the boat up and floated, and the next thing I was in the water with muck up to my ankles, stepping on stingrays and
shark infested waters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's the truth.
Wow.
I mean, I'll take dogs over sharks any day.
Before we move on from continued education, if that's even where we are anymore. So then I have one more question for the panel, but I'd be remiss not to mention it because we were talking about continuing education, and I mean, all of you as experts in the industry, you continue to take more classes, continue to evolve. Dr. Favor, as an educator, as a speaker yourself, evolving. There's I don't know if it's a new variation on your Science of Skin class or if it's a new class altogether, but at Intergroom this year, you're introducing the Science of Prep Skin and Coat. I've sat in your Science of Skin class. I've watched people walk up to you and say that it was literally life-changing. and I knew maybe 4% of what you were talking about, but I was like, this is really interesting, and it's way above my mental capacity. But I've witnessed people in the industry who were flocking to you afterwards, saying it was life changing. Now you're continuing to evolve as an educator as well, so you're introducing the science of prep, skin, and coat. So what can people who attend Intergroom expect from this new variation or this new seminar that you're bringing to the table this year?
So the hair and skin 101 that I teach is kind of the basics of how the skin and the hair works. This is going to take it to a different level, and we're going to talk about prepping, like how you prep your product. We talked about shaker bottle. There's multiple different ways to prepare your products, and talking about saving money. I can take the most expensive product, change my technique, and save money over all the cheap products because how they're used. It's not about saving money on the product, it's about your technique and how you use it. But that's going to be part of it. We're going to talk about things like prepping for the show. How do you grow hair on dogs? You can't really have a good show dog, whether it be for competition or in the show ring, if they got a poor hair coat. So how do you grow hair? So we're going to talk about that. We're actually going to talk some about coloring dogs. The products you use will make a big difference on how deep those colors are going to be, how well it's going to color on that. And then I've got a bunch of tidbits and tips and different things that we're going to talk about. So this is kind of a fun one that let's call it tips and tricks type thing to make it better on that. Because there's a lot of misconceptions. Like, for example, a lot of people have terriers and stuff. They believe you can't condition those guys. Yes, you can, but there's different techniques to keep that coarse coat, because that's really what they're worried about. A lot of the dogs go in the show ring dirty. They don't even wash them because they want a coarse coat. Well, you can still wash them, you can condition them, and you can give them a coarse coat. So, we're going to talk about a lot of those different things. So it'll be a fun seminar for people, and it doesn't matter whether it's just routine stuff that you're doing, all the way up to the top of the line show people on that. So, and Kayla can talk firsthand because Gavin was our poster child for growing coat, and if you've ever seen Gavin, what he looked like. I mean, he was an amazing dog. Now he's got some great genetics, and Kayla does a great job. But we also, another part of the puzzle is being able to grow that coat out and be able to do that. And she shaved him down in, what was it, a month and a half? He's already got.
Yeah, January I shaved him mostly in a 40 blade. And I mean, Intergroom, Pina and I put him in a teach room. And he's probably a month out from
PCA.
contest.
PCA,
Yeah, PCA.
not Intergroom.
Sorry, my brain's on Intergroom right now.
I
That's where we're
noticed that.
going.
But I mean, I'm gonna say in probably another month, like he could be contest ready. He already has that much growth.
Yeah.
Like fast. I mean, and it was still weekly bathing. It was still using the right technique, using the right products, and promoting the growth. But I mean, now of course I'm looking at him, and my vacation of not having to maintain him is coming to a close.
Double-edged sword, right?
He's laying across my lap right now, and I'm feeling his top knot going, oh wait, there's hair here now. I can play with hair again.
Dr. Cliff, you said something and it really resonated was because I know a lot of people who I consider highly professional, and what you said, and they should take your class in particular, that especially the terrier thing, not knowing what the products actually do. And I think what happens is people, and this is why education is so important, people get stuck on what was. Because there was a time where you couldn't find that right product, that, all the conditioners had lanolin, silicones, greases and oils in them, and they would weigh coats down. And now, I mean, there's products out there that, will help grow coat, will help that wire coat. And if you just walk around and you look at product, you know what? Maybe a label catches your eye, maybe the scent. But unless you take that class and you understand what the ingredients are and what it does, you really don't know. So you're not doing anything to help that dog rebuild that coat, make that allergy, feel a little bit better. And that's the importance of classes. And if I had time, I would sit in your class here because I want to know I want to know the new things that you have to say.
Love to have you anytime, Joey. We were talking about that at Northwest, that sometimes the trainers need to train each other,
That's right. That's right. I remember that. And that's the truth. We said that we should all take each other's class, yeah, and just have a trainer class.
Well, and one thing I always tell people too, when they go to a trade show, they're going to get different opinions. And at the end of the day, it needs to be kind of the shopping cart method. You need to pick out what fits you. I was a surgeon, and I had one of the other doctors in my office that was a surgeon. We did things totally different, and we'd get a young veterinarian in there, and I'd have him spend a week with me, and I'd have him spend a week with him. And then they decided what worked with them, the individual person, because not my technique didn't work for everybody, and his technique didn't work for everybody. So you have to kind of go in with a critical eye and critical thinking. And I tell people, whether you agree with me or not, try what I say and then decide from there. In fact, I joke in my classes, everything I tell you today is a lie until you find it to be true.
That's a good saying.
Because
that's a good saying. Yeah.
A lot of things we listen to and we may not agree with, but until we try it, we don't know. I think Joey and Christine are both teaching classes too, aren't you, at Intergroom?
Christine is. Yeah, I'm not. Christine is.
The captain.
Christine's course.
The
Captain Chrissy.
Yeah, Captain Christy. I'm sorry. I'll get it down.
That's right. You will.
I need to practice, so if I ever get there fishing.
We were talking about me being a winner at the Olympic sport of brushing out dogs. So I have a seminar called Don't Get Mad, Get Paid. So it's all about different techniques that won't break your shoulders, using some of the amazing techniques that I've learned from Dr. Cliff and other things to help to be able to manage that crazy hair and have all of the expertise to have those conversations of what it's going to cost, what it's going to take, and when enough is enough, and the lines that need to be drawn in the sand very hard. So this is part of what being an expert in education and being a sponge to education makes you the expert to your community, and the ability to do these expert level jobs and have everything with it. So you're confidently going, cha-ching, this is the only way, because my body's worth more than your dollars on the, pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a grand scheme.
Awesome.
This is my final question, and I'm going to go to Joey and Christine first. Let's go around the whole panel with it. To a first-time attendee or a novice to this industry, or someone who's on the fence about possibly making the investment to attend Intergroom, because I think we can all agree it's definitely an investment, time, money, energy, effort, all of the above. Why should someone invest in themselves and their career and their future and make the trip and make the commitment to attend Intergroom this year?
All of those classes and that investment in yourself makes the confidence, the knowledge, and the formula to be able to make the money to attend more and to do less dogs and kill yourself a little less with everything that you've learned, and staying in the fire regularly with that education. That's where the magic happens, where the formula, the dollars and everything comes. So for me, if I want to make money, I'm going to invest money and have a lot of fun doing it.
I'm going to say this, and what I'm going to take out of the equation is Intergroom, because it's my event. But in any career, in anything that you do, you have to have skin in the game. Yeah. And if you don't have skin in the game and you don't invest in what you're supposed to love and something that you do as much as, I'm in my grooming salon as much as I'm home. I have to be able to, I need to love it. And the only way I can do that is to be the best that I possibly can be. And you know what? Maybe that sounds a little callous. I don't know. A little pompous, but that's just how that's how it has to work for me. And I think most people, if you feel like you're putting all your heart and soul in, the only way to do that is by going out and learning and understanding. At the end of the day, you feel like there's no one better than you doing this. You're the king of the block, and that's I hate to say it, but that's kind of how we feel, because even after all these years, I still want to learn. I'll still pick up that book. I'll still watch that video. I'll still listen to that podcast. And it's because I got skin in the game. And I think everyone needs to have skin in the game.
Summer, Kayla, we talk about this on the show all the time, but Summer, I'll go to you next. For the novice or for somebody who's on the fence about making the investment, why do you think somebody should attend Intergroom this year?
Urs, I love that you repeated the question.
I knew you were going to ask me. A man that pays attention. I know it's
Does
rare.
he know or does he know?
Why go to Intergroom? Build
Or
those
any show.
connections or any of the, okay. Build
Like
those
Joey said.
connections and get to meet those groomers and build that support system around you that you don't get in your salon if you're by yourself or if you're running the business. That is something that through trade shows and competitions I have gotten is my group of friends that we sit there and we talk about business, we talk about everything. And if I didn't go into those shows and I didn't go into some of those classes, I wouldn't have my support system that I can be like, I don't understand why this is happening. How do I say this to a client? Or I want to raise my prices, but how do I do it without, making my clients angry at me? So, and like you build that support system and everyone's in the same boat where we're like, okay, we have to figure out how to do that. And so that's my answer.
We're all in the same boat, and Christine is driving it.
Yeah,
Captain Chrissy.
No
Captain Chrissy.
I got it, Captain.
Yes, it caught on.
All right, Miss Kayla, we know that you come from the business owner side, the competitive side, the champion side. Why should somebody who's on the fence attend Intergroom this year, or any trade show for that matter?
I mean, any trade show, almost echoing a little bit what kind of everyone said so far is you need to put the investment you put in is going to come back into your business, into your life, into your relationships. And, this isn't an easy career, Kevin. There's days that are hard. There's days that you'll question it. There's days you might be burnt out. I think a lot, corporate groomers that are in a brick and mortar that maybe their boss isn't a groomer. I think when you come to these trade shows, you become part of the community. You have a safety net and you're going to develop yourself. You're going to aspire to see who's around you. And I think when you have people, as soon as I started talking, my dogs now think they're part of this. I think once you surround yourself with people that are, I don't want to say above you, but you kind of rise to their level and it grows the entire industry. And I think, you know, you gotta go and put yourself out there. And you're gonna bring things back. You're gonna learn. It's just fun. Like when I think of like not going to a trade show, it's kind of boring. I'm like, well, I work so I can go and see everybody and meet people. But I mean, some of my best friends I've met at shows, and I have friends that might be a downside is that now we live around the whole country and we can't just call up and say let's go to lunch because
That's our problem too.
Someone lives 3 hours,
everywhere.
The time difference alone. But when I started, I think I was almost 10 years into grooming before I went to my first trade show. And there's times people ask me how long you've been grooming, and I honestly sometimes don't even think of that first decade. I think of the time when I kind of came into the community and developed from there. And it's life changing. So you should go to all the trade shows, all of them, even though there's like 1,000 now, but all of them.
Plus,
yes,
900.
It's a lot.
Exactly.
Favorite family, what do we say?
Went first.
So I think I'm going to take a little different angle, and I would say that for anybody who hasn't been to a trade show or hasn't been in a long time, I'd like to personally invite you to come to Intergroom to just walk through the doors. And if if you see us at a booth, please come by and introduce yourself. I would love to like introduce you to all these people and more. A personal invitation. I think that yeah, I just want to encourage you that it changed my life completely by going to a grooming show and seeing that I wasn't alone. I had people that knew what this was all about that had already done it. And I personally would just encourage you to just step out of your comfort zone for just a little bit and realize we're just all friends you haven't met yet. That's all we are. We're just friends you haven't met yet. And yeah, come up to me and give me a shout, and I would love to take you around and introduce you, or introduce you to Dr. Favor or Summer or Kayla or Joey or anybody that's at the show, and absolutely welcome you. I mean,
Disclaimer, I'll never stop talking. It's okay to walk
it's
away.
true she doesn't, but like she's one of the nicest people in the world, so it makes it okay.
I'll
And
let you snuggle my dog. It's fine.
I love to steal newbies and like drag them around. Probably horrify them, but
and there's so
that part's great.
look it. I mean, like who you're seeing here, like on this podcast, this is how we are every day, right, guys? I mean, I can't say that enough. I mean, they are who they are. They're solid people, and there's thousands more out there like them, that are at trade shows waiting for you to be their next best friend. I mean,
Hi,
really.
friends.
So I take a little different approach. As a veterinarian, I spent a lot of time in school. Can you imagine as a client going to a veterinarian that has no schooling? You know, they don't know what they don't know.
Yikes.
You know, how good could they really be if they haven't had those experiences, if they hadn't gone to the classes and done all that, you know? So a groomer's the same way. A lot of times you get by, you do all right, but you could be so much better if you learned more, you know. And I start my classes off as knowledge is power.
It is.
You know, the more you know, and to Christine's point, it gives you confidence. You
Yes.
know, there's nothing worse than, like I say, approaching a skin problem and you don't know what you're doing. You want to help, but you don't know how to help. When you get knowledge and you have better understanding, now you can go forward with confidence on the overall. And you know, I know a lot of people say, well, I wasn't good in school. I wouldn't do that. I'm going to tell you, the best estheticians I have did among the worst on the test, that they still passed, but they did the worst on the test. Some of the best ones academically are not even doing anything about, you know, helping dogs. But, you know, I have people that out there that are just blowing the doors off this, that struggled in school. I've had several with brain injuries, learning disabilities. You know, there I can make a whole list of things. The thing is getting in there, learning it. Repetitiveness.
They showed up.
They showed up and they followed up, you know, which is another important part. You can go to the show, learn a bunch of stuff, but then you never use it. You know, so going and being able to institute those things and try some different things become very, very important. But, you know, go get the knowledge, go get the confidence, you know, and you're not going to do that a lot of times on your own. It's you can look at all the podcasts you want. You can, you know, you do the YouTube videos. It'll never replace a trade show. You know, they're great. And like this is great. We'll give you some knowledge, but it's not the same as actually being there, being able to sit and ask questions and do some of the other things. So, you know, I can't stress enough, you know, the importance of continuing ed and the programs out there on that. So,
Intergroom emanating from scenic and historic Secaucus, New Jersey at the Meadowlands Exposition Center, May 14th through the 17th. Vast array of great speakers, educators, of course, the trade show itself, the competition. We're all very excited and we're all honored to learn from all of you here tonight. Thank you so much to the panel, for Dr. Favor, for Suzanne, Kayla, Summer, Christine, and Joey. Greatly, greatly appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being here, and for educating myself and everybody else. Looking forward to Intergroom this year, and then we already put that teaser in for next year. The consummate promoter, Joey, that you are, you already got us on the hook for next year. You know what you're doing. We know what you're doing.
We're already writing.
Do you want a little tease?
Absolutely. Let's go.
So we're putting together champions, and we already got most of them lined up from 1980 to present, all going to compete against each other. And the funny part about it is they all think they got a chance to beat each other.
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
wonderful.
Wow.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yep. So
That's-
you know, people that are almost 70 years old, they're ready to come back in the ring.
That's
Awesome.
amazing. There's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of tears. That's amazing.
A lot of Ben Gay.
I'm in.
A lot of
I'm
big
in.
like, no,
I'm in.
Joey, it's salon pause. The new thing is salon pause. A tip for you all. You're headed for salon pause.
Thank you for having us. We really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming. We feel honored. Oh my gosh.
please.
We know how busy you are.